Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Jane. My husband Mike is behind the camera. We're British, early retirees, debt and mortgage free and living a thrifty and frugal life here in France. And every Wednesday we invite you into the sofa for a mid-week money chat. Let's take a look at what we're going to have a talk about this week. Now, if you've been here before, you know that I like to start off by being reflective, and especially about that title this week about 15 ways of being productive in retirement, even if you've got a low budget, which we have. So when we think of retirement, it means different things to different people, just in the same way as money saving or being frugal means different things to different people. You as a retiree may have a very different view of what you want to do in retirement. You literally may want to just pursue your hobbies all day, every day. Some people don't want to do that. Some people want to be very active and very productive. And I'm going to look at 15 different ways in which you can do just that. The first one won't really sound like retirement, and you'll think, well, what are you talking about, Jane? Let me explain. Set up your working days. You've still got to do things. You've still got to get things done. So decide which days are going to be your working days and decide which days are not going to be your working days. We, at the moment, have pretty much 4 working days. We don't do so much on a Friday, Saturday or Sunday. Those are kind of slip back, kick back days for us. If we want to go somewhere or do something, we're most likely to do it on those days. But there you go. First of all, choose which are your working days and choose which are your non-working days. So after setting up your working days, the second thing that it's really good to do, and it motivates you and it gives you a framework and a structure to your week and your days and your life, is then set up your working hours. Now, we predominantly work mostly in the morning. By lunchtime, we've pretty much got everything that we need to do done. So your work could be, you've got to go to the supermarket. Your work could be, you've got to clean the house. Your work could be, you've got to groom the dogs. Your work could be, you've got to clean the windows. You see where I'm going with this? But if you set up your working hours, you can motivate yourselves to get things done in that time. And otherwise, it gets all a bit loosey-goosey, doesn't it? Things drift on through the day and you can end up doing housework all day and then wondering where your day's gone. You set yourself your working hours. Mine, for example, are 8 in the morning until 10. I get my housework done, my laundry done, everything out on the line, everything cleaned by 10 o'clock. The rest of the day, I can do something else. We all need some structure in our lives, whether we're working, whether we're staying at home, or whether, like us, that you are retired. And I still think it's a very good piece of advice, and I take it myself. You can choose what you do with it. Is I set an alarm. I don't get up as I used to in the past at 5 in the morning when I was going out to work. No, I get up now at a nice leisurely 6:30 in the morning because I am naturally a morning person and I like to get up and get on with things. Equally, I like to get to bed early because I like to read. It suits me. So there you go. Get some kind of structure in your day. You know the days that you're going to work and get stuff done. You know the times in which you're going to get stuff done. And also set your alarm. A good sleep routine can really help you get some structure in your lives and really help with some productivity. So we've decided on our working days and our working time, and we've looked upon the fact that we do need to have some structure in our lives and to get up and get going in the morning and set that alarm. But another thing we need to do is have some kind of structure over our weeks and have some kind of structure over our months. and also have stuff to look forward to over the coming weeks and over the coming month. So I find it really helpful and really important to have a wall calendar. It really helps me to see what I'm doing this week, and I can get organised with that. And I also have it there as a quick visual aid, so I can say no to some things as well, because I'm a busy woman and I still have to get things done at home. So have some kind of visual aid, have something up there that you can see quickly and easily what you're doing and when you're doing. It really does help put a backbone to the structure and productivity of your everyday life. The joyful thing about retirement is having the time to socialise. It's having the time to do things that you enjoy doing. But if you're living on a budget, you're going to have to make some decisions. And I think a great way to make those decisions is to throw everything on a piece of paper of activities and things you like doing that are important to you. And if there's something in there that really stands out as very important to you, is to look into ways that you can fit that into your budget. A very small thing might be wanting to meet up with friends and socialise, wanting to meet up and have a coffee, and thinking about where in your budget can that come from. So if I was to go out for a coffee and meet up with friends, I think personally I would choose to take that from my food budget, because there's a little flexibility in my food budget. And I might think to myself, well, I can allow myself around, €3 a week for going out for coffee, because a coffee is €1.50. So I could either go out and have a long chat with people and have 2 coffees, or I could go out and spend an hour on one day and an hour on another and spend €1.50 each time on a coffee. But it's doing that to think to yourself, what is important to me, and where and how am I going to fit that into my budget? Whether we're working or whether we're retired or whether we're productive in any way with our finances, and especially if we live on a budget, we all need some kind of savings goals and we all need some kind of spending plan. Savings goals, how much you're going to put aside each month. Spending goals, what are you going to do with that when you've saved for it? An example with us, we decided this year, and it might seem a bit frivolous to some people, that we were going to set aside €360 for plants. And that means we save it up, and when we have a lump of it, we buy plants. And here comes the fun bits of the spending goals. We then have the fun of looking for ways of stretching that budget as far as we can. Going to open gardens where there are plants for sale very cheaply, to car boot sales, and let's face it, supermarkets that have the tatty plants at the end of the tills that you can pick up really cheaply. And that becomes the fun part of the spending goals. It's strange, isn't it? When we were working, we all used to manage to get all the housework done after work or on a Friday night or very quickly on a Saturday morning. And now we're retired, it seems to go on and on and on. So I think it's really important, if you want to be productive and you want to get on and do the fun stuff and the things that you enjoy, to have some really quick, simple and easy housework and house management routines. So make a list of the things that you need to do every day, a quick list of things that you need to do only once a week, and a quick list of the things that you need to do every single month. And then we tick off the things that we do every day, and we tick off one thing off our 5 things on our weekly list every day. And then we have 5 things on our monthly list as well, and we do 1 of them or 2 of them each week. And then we can really get all of that done quickly out of the way and get on to the things that we enjoy. Next thing I'd like to share with you is something that we do, because it's very easy when you're at home all the time for your home to feel like it's on top of you. It's where you spend an awful lot of time, and it can get a bit cluttered and a bit messy and a bit disorganized. And one thing that we do is we have a monthly declutter challenge. So that means we'll go through a cupboard, or that box, or that drawer in the kitchen, or that shelf in the shed, and we'll go through it and we will declutter it. This month we have decluttered clothing. We've gone through, we've got a bag full of clothes that we don't want anymore, and they can go off to the charity shop. Next month we might go through all our books and think, well, we've read these, we don't need to keep them, and they can go off to the charity shop. Great way of keeping your house organised, keeping yourself productive, stopping all of those things that feeling like it's just junk and in your way. Is a monthly declutter challenge. It's so important when we're either living off our investments or we're living off a monthly pension. We've still got to make that money last and go a very long way. And so it's very important to have good financial routines. We all need daily financial routines, weekly financial routines, and monthly financial routines. Daily, and I'm reading this off a listing because this is too important to miss it, we need to check our online banking. We need to make sure that we know the money coming in and the money going out. We need to be absolutely on top of it. If anything's gone from your bank, you need to be on to the bank immediately and say, what's this? What's going on? We need to record any spending, track every penny of our spending. Every receipt we get in, we write it in our budget book. Remember, I'm sharing what we do. We are not telling you what to do. And we also check our budget each day so we know how much money we've got left and how much we're going to spend and what we're going to spend it on. And then weekly, we do a food stock check, for example, weekly. We do a meal plan weekly. And then we write a shopping list weekly. And those are part of a financial plan. And then monthly, every month we write out a unique budget. We move money to our sinking funds. We move money to our long-term savings. An example would be of a spending plan is how much we spend on food or how much we spend at the supermarket. And we spend €300 a month. Whether we do that at €60 a week over a 5-week month or €75 a week over a 4-week month is part of our spending plan. The next point follows on from the last. I think it's really important, and I genuinely do give this as well-meaning advice. I think it's genuinely important that we all live off a written budget. For me, a budget is not a budget if it isn't written down. It's just a vague concept of ideas. And I think it's so important, especially if we want to have a purposeful, productive and meaningful retirement, is to be able to plan where that money is going to go over the days, the weeks and months. So I think it's really important to have a written budget. Now, if you're like us and you have quite a big garden, it might feel like you're a slave to that garden and you're out there working in it all of the time. And you might enjoy that, but you might be like me and you just want to get things done. So it's really important as well to establish some kind of garden routine. What are the things that you do every year, maybe once a year? Once a year, for example, you get the garden furniture in and then you take it out again next year. Something that you might do weekly. You might cut the grass each week. You might cut the grass each month. There might be things that you do on a regular basis or on a seasonal basis. Seasonal, for example, you might get your garden bulbs, your flower bulbs in at one time of the year. You might put fruit trees in at another time of the year. So a really good thing to be productive and get yourselves organised so you're not a slave to the garden is establish some kind of garden routine. I have always batch cooked. It's something that I used to do at the weekend, so I was ready for the working week. And it isn't something that I thought that I would continue when I retired. But I found out now it's something I need to do more than ever. Because let's face it, when we're retired, we're often busier than we've ever been before. doing the things that we want to do. And batch cooking means, first of all, I continue to save money as I've always done, but it also gives me a break. It gives me time off. It means that if I want to go out for the day and come back late, I can just pull something out of the freezer and something that I've just made before. When we have lots of time, it's very easy to think, oh, I'll just pop to the shops, or I'll just pop to the garden centre, or I'll just pop to the charity shop. And the next thing you know, you're backwards and forwards in your car and your purse is opening and closing, isn't it? Like the front door. Really good thing, and this is what we do, and remember I tell you this all the time, I share with you our story, I'm not telling you what to do, is that we have a shopping day. And it's the day where I go to the supermarket, I might call into the garden centre, I might call into the recycling shop, I might call into the charity shop. But by having a fixed day, I know on that day I can take my garden budget, I can take my supermarket budget, and I can take my charity shop budget. But it just gives me that financial focus and it gives me that structure to my week that I'm not just popping here and popping there. So really good bit of advice, take it if you will. It's not insisting that you're doing it at all. It's to have a shopping day and not days. We often think we've got all the time in the world, don't we, when we're retired, but all of a sudden we're busy doing the housework, looking after the garden, running errands, doing all of these things, and we forget us. So I think it's really important, if we want some structure in our week, some purposeful, productive time in our week, that we put in that weekly plan time for us. Whatever your hobby is, whether it's time that you go to the library and read there, or it's time that you spend with a walking group, or it's time that you spend doing craft, or art, or photography, or playing the piano, or learning a new language. Whatever it is, timetable it, put it on your wall planner, put it in there, make it part of your structure. It's your time. Don't forget you and the things that you love to do. So make time for you and the things that you love to do. My final point, and it means the most to me, and it might mean the most to you as well, is to find your passion and find your purpose. What are you actually going to do with this retirement? Now, I had a conversation with people in our Facebook group, and lots of people were saying, similarly to me, that they didn't really have any great big plan of what they were going to do when they retired, and they eased themselves in and then found their passion later. And I'm just going to give you some examples of things that people have found and they've absolutely loved. People, for example, have never ever had the time to have a pet, and now they're retired, they have a cat or that dog that they have always wanted. They, like me, could barely find any time for hobbies, and my hobby has been quilting for many years now, and I never really had the time. I had to snatch minutes. And now I can indulge hours and days into doing the things that I really love doing. For yours, it could be photography, it could be volunteering, it could be collecting things, it could be reading, it could be socializing or travel. That there are so many ways with time that we can really find our purpose and our passion on a budget, and travel is an example, isn't it? Being retired means that you can go low season, it means that you can go off peak, it means that you can go to those lesser populated areas that you've always wanted to go and investigate. You can camp, you can take a caravan, you can do all of those things because you have got the luxury of saying, well, the weather's good next week, we'll go next week. And if the weather changes, it doesn't matter because you can go some other time. But I would say to everybody, the most important thing for me in retirement is to find your purpose and find your passion. We love your comments. We read every single one of them. Now tell me, are you retired? If so, are you living on a budget? How do you make it work? How do you do the things that you need to do? How do you stay busy and get things done on a budget? Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.